Do you guys remember this reaction from Papi 3 years ago when Sumail didn't buy BKB? Look at his disappointment with his core not having BKB. Question is, do you always need a BKB? Let's talk about it. So let's talk about BKB. When do you use it and when do you not? First of all, let's remind ourselves how BKB actually works. First of all, it applies a basic dispels, so it can dispel, for example, like Frostbite, and it increases your magic resistance. As you can see, it increases magic resistance by 60%, but the way the stacking works in Dota, it makes it so that your hero has about 70% magic resistance most of the time. Also, you ignore negative effects. For example, if you're shackled, you ignore that effect by Shadow Shaman, but if BKB runs out and the shackle is still running, then it will apply after BKB runs out. So let's talk BKB on supports. Obviously, as a support, BKB is going to be a late game item, most likely, because you're more likely to buy smaller, helpful items earlier. And then it will be important to identify your job as a support. I've collected a couple of markers that can help you identify if you want to buy BKB as support in the late game. If you do not have any other saves as a support hero, then you might want to buy BKB. Also, if you have channeling abilities that should not be interrupted, like Black Hole, then BKB is also for you. If you're a close range support, it also makes it more likely that you want to buy BKB. And then also if you have spammable spells, it also makes it more likely that you want to have BKB, because having a spammable spell means that the longer you are alive during a team fight, the more useful you are, and BKB can definitely help with that. So let's look at some heroes. We have Crystal Maiden here, and she does have no other saves. She has a channeling ability as her ultimate. She isn't close range, but she does have spammable spells, so her aura as well as her Frostbite and Crystal Nova come off cooldown really quickly and help the team out a lot, so it is definitely somebody who likes to have a BKB in the late game. Now let's look at Tusk. We already see he does have another save with the Snowball, so it makes him much less likely to buy a BKB. Let's not do it. Next we have Warlock. He does have a channeling spell, no other saves though. His channeling spell is not his most important one though. What Warlock is actually trying to do is drop his golems, and that's basically the most he can contribute to a team fight, so he doesn't really need BKB as long as he gets out his golems. Same thing with Silencer. Silencer is basically a running global silence, and if you are able to press your global silence and then die, that's totally fine, you don't need a BKB. Let's look at two more examples. Here we have Enigma with the channeling ability Black Hole that needs to go down, so obviously BKB buyer. And we have also Marcy, who is very close range and does a lot of damage and likes to survive longer in a fight. So this will also make you want to buy BKB. That's it for supports. Let's talk about cores. So we have two markers here. When do you want or do not want to buy BKB? First of all is the question of what your basic skill set is already given you. With these heroes, for example, they are less likely to buy BKB because they have a basic skill set that helps them survive without the need to necessarily have a BKB. Puck is very agile and can escape quite good without a BKB. Lifestealer obviously has a built-in BKB, and Brewmaster with his ultimate is also very tanky by himself, and during his ultimate he cannot use his BKB, so his BKBs, like if he were to buy BKB, he could only use it in situations where he doesn't want to fight anyway, which is when he doesn't have ulti. So the basic skill set of these heroes makes it so that they don't want to buy BKB, although there might be exceptions, but those just apply the rule. The next marker for not buying or buying a BKB is the level and the type of enemy control. Let's look at some examples. Let's say this is your enemy team. We have Warlock, Enigma, Axe, Klings, and Faceless Void. All of these heroes have abilities that pierce BKB, with Warlock and Enigma ult, with the Axe Call, with Faceless Void's Chrono, and Klings obviously does mostly physical damage, so he doesn't really care about BKB as well. So you could buy BKB here, but it actually won't help you that much. Here you might want to think about S and Y instead. That gives you more status resistance and makes it so that the call lasts less long on you, and also gives you like somewhat of tankiness, but also like a lot of hideability, while BKB here will be interrupted most definitely. So let's change some heroes. We do have Beastmaster as a 3 now instead of Axe, and a Death Prophet instead of Clinks. So we have a lot of magic damage right now, so this might also suggest that you have to buy Pipe, especially when you're an offlaner. Maybe you're playing Mars, where you do like to have a BKB, but in a scenario like this, again, BKB will not help you that much, but a Pipe maybe will. Next scenario, we exchange Enigma for Venomancer. Now we have a bunch of slows. Warlock has a slow, Venomancer obviously, even Beastmaster with the Spore, and Death Prophet as well. So as a carry, you might look to buy a Disperser in the late game instead of going for BKB, so maybe you want to go S and Y Disperser, then press the Disperser. You're gonna have 5 seconds that you cannot be slowed, and you will be able to run around perfectly well. If we change this up though, and we add like Lion and CK, which adds like 3 stunts, this is already an amount of control that makes it necessary to buy a BKB here. So let me summarize. For supports, the main thing you want to think about is the relevance of your survival. There are a lot of supports that just have one spell that is very strong, and if you can press that during a team fight, that might just be enough, and your further survival isn't as relevant. So in a scenario like this, you don't want to buy BKB even in the late game. For cores, it's very much about the level of enemy control. If they have a lot of stuns, you always need BKB, but if their control is more like slows or BKB piercing, you can definitely think about buying different items, Pipe, S and Y, or Disperser, or other items that make you tanky enough, or give you like some kind of survivability. Against slows, obviously, Manta can be pretty good, or Force stuff. If you're a ranged hero, you can buy Hurricane Pike. So dear friends, do not always buy BKB, but do consider why you want to have it, and then go for it. If you don't need it, be very happy about it, and get an item that gives you other good stats as well.
What a tune!